Alright, pause. Today, I'm gonna be teaching you 8 ways to sound like a British. See, the reason why I want to share this to you is because when I first got to Scotland 2 years ago, I found out that there was a gap between the native English speakers speak and non-native like me. When I first interacted with Scottish people, right, I found out like, wow, it turned out that the English that I know and that I've been using in their conversation was quite different than theirs. It was like the way they choose the words, the way they pronounce them, and the way they structure those words are slightly different than the way that we were taught in school or the way we've been using English in our daily conversation. So then I learned how to speak like them, how to sound like them, and here it is 8 ways to make you sound like a British that I experienced myself living in the UK for almost 2 years. So here we go. Number 1. Do not say thank you. Well, thank you is perfectly fine, it is good, but it sounds formal. However, in the UK, British people, they say alternative words. For example, if someone does a small favor for you, such as holding a door for you, you could simply say cheers. It is informal, sounds informal, but it sounds natural, sounds friendly, and it sounds so British. For example, here's your latte, mate. Cheers, mate. Here's your book. Cheers. And also, if someone does you a big favor, instead of saying thank you, you could say thanks ever so much or thanks very much. For example, wow, mate, I'm gonna send you the PowerPoint that I told you the other day. Thanks ever so much, mate. Number 2, do not say you're welcome. Well, you're welcome or you are welcome is perfectly valid to respond for a thank you. However, British people who use alternative words such as first, they would use no problem. It sounds a bit informal and it sounds casual. For example, thanks for your lift. No problem, mate. Or they would say that's alright. It's also informal, but it sounds more friendly. For example, thanks for giving me help. That's alright, I enjoyed helping you. And also, this one is my favorite and it's very common spoken by British people. There is no worries. It's so friendly, so casual. For example, thanks for your film recommendation. I didn't know that I really need that in this kind of time. No worries, mate. Or if someone says thanks ever so much or thanks very much, to be polite, you could respond to them by saying you're most welcome. Number 3, using have got for possession. It is very popular for British people to say have got instead of just saying have. Yes, it's grammatically correct to say have, like I have a pen or I have a camera, I have a laptop. However, if you want to sound like British people, you should say I have got. For example, I've got the money, I've got the pen, I've got a laptop. Or using haven't got for negative. For example, I haven't got the paper, I haven't got the money, I haven't got the email that you sent to me, could you send it back to me? Number 4, use alternatives to match, many, and a lot of. Well, those words are grammatically correct, however, they are overused, mostly by people who are not native English speakers. So if you want to sound more British, you should use alternative words. For example, first, a great deal. So instead of saying, I've got a lot of paperwork to do, you should say, I've got a great deal of paperwork to do. You can also use a large number of. So instead of saying, there are many people who are affected, you could say, there are a large number of people who are affected. Or if you want to sound a bit informal, but friendly and casual, you could use words like lots or tons. So for example, instead of saying, I ate a lot of fish and chips yesterday, you could say, I ate tons of fish and chips, or I ate lots of fish and chips yesterday. Next one, call everyone mate. Maybe when you heard this, it may sound like, what? Really? But be with me, it's super common for people in Scotland and in England to call everyone with mate. Mate means friend. Every British do this. My mates do this. For example, like, how's it going, mate? Nice shoes you got there, mate. He's my mate. She's my mate. They are my mates. My mates are over there. My mates are over the corner. So just call everyone by mate. Mate, mate, mate. What's up, mate? Alright, mate. All the time. But in Scotland, it's also common for people to call everyone, like, instead of saying mate, they also call by pal. Right? So pal means mate, means friend as well. Like, how's it going, pal? Cheers, pal. I'll see you later, pal. Turn the camera on, pal. However, mate is quite popular as well in Scotland. So in Scotland, you could say pal or mate. In England, mainly people would say mate. However, there are two different ways to pronounce mate in Scotland and in England. In England, especially in London, the way they pronounce mate is like mate, mate, mate. So you got the tone in there. But in Scotland, you say people call everyone mate. It's not mate, it's mate. So it's kind of different. In England, mate. In Scotland, mate. So say it with me. Mate and mate. Mate, mate. Alright, mate. Alright, mate. So it's slightly different. And people could tell whether you are from England or if you're from Scotland by the way you call them. If you call them mate, they would notice, this guy's from England. But if you call them, like, say, go on, mate, they'll directly notice, this lad is from Scotland, up north. Next one, the way you pronounce or not pronounce the T. I think I've mentioned this in my previous video. British people, they either pronounce the T or they dropped it, they don't pronounce it at all. However, if you choose to pronounce the T in the words, it has to sound like T, not a D. For example, university, not university. Beautiful, not beautiful. Water, not water. Later, not later. Butter, not butter. Or if you choose to drop the T, like most Londoners do, or Scottish people do, is you don't pronounce the T is kind of stuck in your throat. Like glottal T is a glottalization. So for example, you say university, not university. University. Capital. City, not city, not city. City. So it's capital city. Capital city, not capital city. So say it with me. Capital city. Capital city. I live in capital city. I live in the capital city of Indonesia. I live in Jakarta. Total, not total. Butter, not butter. Matter, not matter. We say, what's the matter with you? We don't say, what's the matter with you? We say, what's the matter with you? Next one, do not pronounce the R. Or if you want to pronounce the R, pronounce it with a roll quite strongly. As I mentioned in my previous video as well, British people, they don't pronounce the R. They dropped it. For example, they'd say water, not water. Guitar, not guitar. Labor, not labor. Enter, not enter. So we don't pronounce the R sound at the end of the words. We just kind of lose it. And also in Scotland, people would say R, but they say it quite strongly. They roll it. It's not like in America where they just tap the R, but then in Scotland they like really roll it. For example, greater, bigger, braver, appear, closer. See the difference? In Scotland, we really roll the R. And also, which is, I think, what I like the most from Scottish accent. Because for us, see, Indonesians, we get used to pronouncing the R when we say words that has R in it. That's why for me, it's quite easy for me to pick the Scottish accent. Because I get used to rolling the R and Scottish accent, they do exactly the same. For example, like, bring me my iron brew. See, they really strongly say the R. Come here with me, pal. It was raining yesterday. Have my money by tomorrow and there won't be any problem. See, it sounds like so masculine, so manly, It's so natural to learn. Last one, use a question tag. Question tag is a question placed at the end of a sentence. They're used for three things: for a confirmation, an agreement, or just for being polite. Because in British culture, it's kind of rude for assuming directly that you are correct. For example, sentence like, "You like Ed Sheeran, don't you? You like the food, don't you?" So see, you put the question at the end of a sentence after your statement. And see, in a question tag, when your statement is a positive, the question tag should be a negative. And also the other way around, when your statement is negative, your question tag should be a positive one. For example, "You didn't finish your homework, did you? She wasn't at the gym, was she?" And also, interestingly, in London, it's super common for people, in terms of using the question tag, they just say "in it all the time." And it's also good for you if you want to sound British, just say "in it all the time." No, it's not all the time, but mostly Londoners, they'll say "in it." It's the way of them saying "isn't it." They just make it quite short, make it easier to pronounce. So instead of saying "isn't it," they would say "in it." For example, "The film's good, in it. The gym's big, in it. The gaff is sick, in it." So "in it" all the time. And same things in Scotland. Instead of saying "isn't it," Scottish people would say "ain't it," because it's easier to pronounce. "Ain't it?" Instead of saying "isn't it," I think it's "isn't it," like taking a lot of times. Like, "The food's delicious, isn't it?" Nah, we would just say "the food's good, isn't it?" The main sentence is good, isn't it? So it's "ain't it." So those are 8 ways to sound like a British. So if you practice those 8 aspects every day, every single time, you would sound British naturally. And also, if you like me to cover certain topic about English, put it down here in the comment section. If you also got an idea of how to sound more British besides those that I've told you, just put down in the comment section as well. And before I finish this video, do not forget to subscribe, hit a like button, turn the notification on, and you can also follow me on my Instagram. Well, I'll see you next time. Thanks very much.